podcast, we will discuss the positive factors, including sports, nutrition, support, and a positive classroom environment, and negative factors, including bullying, the internet, stress, and attention disorders. We will then discuss facts on the teenage brain itself. On one day, students were tested following a 20-minute resting period. On another day, after a 20-minute session walking on a treadmill, students were shown congruent and incongruent stimuli on a screen and asked to push a button to respond to incongruencies. During the testing, students were outfitted with an electrode cap to measure EEG activity. What we found is that following the acute bout of walking, children performed better on the flanker test, Hillman said. They had a higher rate of accuracy, especially when the task was more difficult. Along with that behavioural effect, we also found that there were changes in their event-related brain potentials, ERPs. In these neuroelectric signals that are a covert measure of attentional resource allocation. Nutrition is a major factor in the growth of the brain and helping us to stay concentrated during the day. Caffeine and sugar are also great ways to keep us alert and attent, but overdo on these and you may become jittery and distracted. A breakfast is a big part of getting your body ready for your day. If you don't fuel it, you won't be able to concentrate on anything but your hunger. Fish also contains important oils that help the brain grow and improve abilities to concentrate, such as omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. Sleep is essential to the cognitive process associated with learning. A lack of sleep brings down alertness and attention span that makes it easier to take in information. A lack of attention also limits a person's ability to reason and solve problems effectively, which means that people who are fatigued cannot learn at an effective level. Skills that have been learned during the day are converted to memories during the night. Even if you manage to learn a significant amount during the day, you will not be able to remember it if you do not get enough sleep to allow your body to store this knowledge in long-term memory in the brain. We all know from our own experiences that a happy student will flourish in a classroom. That is why a positive classroom environment is important. Studies have shown that a happy brain stimulates the growth of nerve connections, improves cognition by increasing mental productivity, improves our ability to analyse and think, and also increases our attentiveness to a task. This includes supporting a child in school and ensuring they are getting the support needed at home. A major factor on attention in the adolescent brain is stress. There has been many relations between stress and the effects it can have on attention and the brain. Studies have shown that stress can kill brain cells and even halt the production of new brain cells. A study performed by Conor Whelehan and Bruce S. Ewan, testing stressed rats and control rats, showed that in the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for memory and attention, of the stressed rats, the neurons were shorter and not as branched as the control rats. In which Ewan stated that it was remarkable that stress produced almost as large a deficit in attention-shifting tasks as lesions. I think this is the most profound negative effect of stress on a brain measure that I have seen. Bullying isn't directly linked to attention, but it has a huge effect on the adolescent as a person. Bullying can cause stress, which we already know affects the brain in a negative way. Bullying is something that is estimated to happen to over 30% of pupils in school. The stress and panic of wondering when the next attack is going to happen causes students to disengage with classroom activities and may also cause students to miss days of school, which hinders their own learning and development. As the brain itself is constantly changing, studies have shown that a high percentage of students who get bullied also develop mental illnesses and causes them to feel unworthy. ADD and ADHD obviously get in the way of learning. You can't absorb information or get your work done if you're running around in the classroom or zoning out when you're supposed to be reading or listening. Think of what the school setting requires students to do. Sit still, listen quietly, pay attention, follow instructions, and concentrate. These are the very things that students with attention disorders have a hard time doing, not because they aren't willing, but because their brains won't let them. Children with these attention disorders need to be given tasks which will hold their interest, which is difficult in a classroom setting. Just remember, you need to understand the student's disorder and not let the child become the disorder. With the wide availability of internet access, there could be a strong link in the decrease of our attention span from 12 minutes to 5. A study found that a 1-second delay in page load time can result in 11% fewer page reviews, 16% decreased customer satisfaction, and 7% lost conversions. Not only is technology decreasing our attention abilities, it is also decreasing our ability to be patient. We expect everything to occur instantly at the click of a button. Our brains are becoming rewired to suit these technological times. It has been found that older people have longer attention spans than younger people. This is most probably because they have not had their brains moulded and shaped by social media technology. The circuits in our brains that are responsible for being able to pay attention throughout a long novel, think deeply about concepts, concentrate on a challenging task, etc., are becoming atrophied in adults and will perhaps be near to non-existent in the young. It has been suggested that the sharp increase in ADHD could be due to the rise in the use of technology. We're not lazy, we just need more sleep. Scientific studies have shown that sleep is especially important for teenagers, as it's during this time that the pituitary gland releases growth hormones necessary for development. However, it's not that we sleep longer, just later, as melatonin, our wind-down hormone, is produced around 1 a.m. as opposed to 10 p.m. for adults. This change in circadian rhythm causes us to wake up 3 to 4 hours later than adults. Teenagers are known for their risk-taking and rash decision-making. This is due to the undeveloped prefrontal cortex, which houses the neurons used to make informed and rational decisions. As it is underdeveloped, the signals in the brain are slow, meaning educated decisions aren't easily made, so we make quick, uneducated decisions instead. As there are loads of unused connections in the brain undergoes a process called synaptic pruning, where unused connections are lost. This allows myelin fatty tissues to increase, which insulate the used connections in the brain. A study carried out in McLean Hospital in Massachusetts hooked up adults and teenagers to MRI devices and asked them to identify a series of facial expressions. It was discovered that adults and teenagers responded with different parts of the brain. Adults use their prefrontal cortex, which helped them to understand and relate to problems, whereas teens use their amygdala, which caused them to act emotionally and quickly, instead of thinking through the intentions behind the expressions. This part of the brain causes emotional mood swings, which drive teens to seek peer acceptance, often putting friends above family, and causes teenagers to take risks in social settings. The amygdala also causes teens to feel socially isolated and unworthy. Scientists feel that this is down to the change in white matter, grey matter, and connections in the brain, which in turn can lead to mental illnesses. But it's not all bad. Due to a greater number of synaptic connections and increased plasticity of the brain, teenagers are primed to learn quickly and memorize content fast. Thank you for watching our podcast. Hope you enjoyed it.